Hello, everyone. The countdown is on. It's day 355, leaving us with some 10 more days before the end of the year. We're also counting down to Christmas. That's 4 days from now. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the program. I am Nifemi Okutoye. We're headed to southern Kaduna this morning, where sadly we're hearing reports of renewed attacks and the killings of no fewer than 28 persons in Malangum and Sokwom communities. That's in Kaura local government area of the state. And I'm joined this morning by someone who should know and help us understand updates as regards what's happening there and efforts by different stakeholders to nip this in the bud. Bandits have attacked communities on Sunday night and also razed several houses. The affected communities include Malangum 1 and Songwon of Kagoro. That's in Kaura local government area. And a few confirmations are coming of the killings. The council chairman, Martha Osiman, did say 7 persons were gruesomely killed in Sogom community and their houses completely burnt. Also, Speaker of Kaura local government, Atok Stephen, added that over 22 persons were killed in Malagum 1 community. We're taking reactions this morning from different stakeholders, and one of them is the Christian Association of Nigeria. And also, perhaps by the time we open the phone lines, we'll also get feelers from others as well from that part of the country. It's been a very sad tale coming from this region. You recall that earlier this year, there's been quite a number of peace summits, a lot of white paper committees that have been inaugurated to look into this challenge and come up with solution. As a matter of fact, sometime in 2020, the federal government, the presidency rather, came up with its position as to what is happening in that part of Kaduna. Killings in southern Kaduna is not just something that is happening now. It's been around for a while, and it's been labeled with different names and given several reasons. There's been quite a number of interventions also from government. The question, however, is how much of peace has been restored to that part of the country, and precisely what is being done right now. Do we even understand the cause of all of these challenges? And it's also important that we hear from people who are there and who are experiencing the challenge firsthand. You recall that earlier on, the presidency had insisted that the violent attacks is an expression of deeper problems than what is being postulated or what is being reported on the media. As a matter of fact, it had mentioned that there is need for all of the different stakeholders to come together and resolve this matter as a matter of urgency. A look at what has happened recently. For instance, you hear the police, mention target an endless reprisal. According to Umar Muri, for instance, the commissioner of police sometime in 2020 was quoted to have said, when one man is killed, people assume it is neighbor, and instead of reporting, they take the laws into their hands. Ada's called in from Jos this morning. Good morning, Ada.
Listen, good morning. Ada calling from Jos State. Listen, when you rolled out the figures, I found it ridiculous. That figure is too low. It's too low if you have been following what the killings happening there. So my submission is this. There can't be peace without justice. You can't keep on having committees, having white papers, and they are nobody is, following those recommendations to the letter. That is what is happening. There's a root cause. Why can't they address the root cause once and for all? It's really sad. It's not only in Kaduna, it's all over. What is happening? There can't be peace without justice, no matter how we pretend. Because from there's no sincerity of purpose after the committees. When they get back, they do something differently. So we can't continue like this. We don't have value for human life again. It's really unfortunate. God is saying, let's not do about this country. You shall be well. Lord, I didn't mind.
Thank you very much, Ada, for your contribution. Let's get back to the Kaduna State Chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend John Joseph Hayab. Reverend Hayab, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning. Sorry, I think the system wasn't picking my voice.
Well, glad we can hear you now. Talk to us about what you have learned as regards the nature of this latest attack, and what's the update this morning?
Well, over 37 people were killed 2 days ago. The people in that community are living in fear. There is tension all over southern Kaduna, and the usual rhetoric, we are back to it again. Once there is killing, we talk, but no concrete action. When we have one small success, we jubilate as if it is all over, not knowing that the criminals have not yet given up. This is the kind of thing I can say I'm learning, and it's sad. This is not what we want to see, and you know it is coming towards the season of Christmas to create more fear and confusion in the entire place.
But I think you were quoted to have said that this is proof that those who are causing mayhem in that part have not been dealt with. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, we've heard severally that government or the security forces have neutralized bandits, have neutralized criminals around. But if these people can come and cause this havoc, killing 1, 2, 3, 30, 37 and above people, burning houses in such number, then they've not been neutralized. They just probably just withdraw somewhere, and we started celebrating, thinking it's over, not knowing that they went to regroup.
Police over the years have attributed attacks of this nature as reprisal attack. They have called it reprisal attack. Do you think that is what happened on Sunday night?
Can those who are calling it reprisal attack should tell us what happened in the last 1 month, in the last 6 months, in the last 3 months that warrant reprisal? Don't we have government? Don't we have laws? If anybody has committed a crime, are you the one to go after the person who committed the crime and kill him? What have those innocent children, innocent women who were sleeping and they were slaughtered in their sleep got to do with your reprisal? If you have an issue with me, Reverend Hayab, or you have an issue with somebody else, will you go to the community and destroy even people who do not know about the issue and call it reprisal? Sometimes the use of this term reprisal is just a way of covering, and we must be careful when we use even the word reprisal. What have happened that we are reprising? What happened? Can someone tell us what has happened that we are coming back for reprisal? Who has killed who in the last 3 months that you are coming back to reprisal? Who has offended who that you are coming back for reprisal?
All right.
Criminals, terrorists are terrorizing citizens, and we should deal with them with their name than using this reprisal as a cover.
Let me hold you for a minute. Chidi has called in from Kafancha, and both of us would like to hear from him. Hi, Chidi. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Defemi.
Good morning.
Indeed, the recent communal clashes in Malagun, which is not too far away from Kafanchan, is quite regrettable, particularly the timing. A lot of factors may be attributed to this incessant communal crisis, but I do not want to lay blame on anybody's doorstep. I only want to encourage the government and the other stakeholders to work harmoniously and synergically in order to bring these people together, the farmers on one hand, the herders on the other hand. If there will be real understanding and the need to foster peace, justice, unity, and peaceful coexistence, I want to strongly believe that this incessant crisis will be mitigated. Let Nigerians understand and place more value and premium on our lives, because life should be sacrosanct and should not be wasted in the manner in which we saw what happened in Malagun. I condole with the local government, I condole with the state, and I condole with the immediate families of those that lost their lives. And I want to pray to the Almighty God that may this thing not happen again in any part of Nigeria, because indeed every part of Nigeria is in one somewhere or the other. May the good Lord grant us peace, particularly in this Euless time. Thank you very much, and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Chidi, for that contribution. Don't forget that you can be a part of this conversation by using the hashtag This Morning TVC on all social media platforms. We'll be joining a live coverage of the ceremony to mark the completion of the Blue Line, the light rail project of the Lagos State government at the National Theatre any moment from now. But this conversation continues on other platforms. Reverend, you mentioned that we shouldn't cover this up under the phrase reprisal attack. Are you agreeing to the fact that perhaps southern Kaduna have experienced some relative peace in the past months, particularly after the major attack in June this year?
Yeah, that's why I have even counted months and periods to say who has attacked who, what has happened that warrant this attack. In fact, let me comment, let me say something with what Chidi said. Chidi called it a communal violence. I'm really surprised. How can innocent people be sleeping in their sleep and someone come and attack them and kill them and you call that communal violence? Who was fighting who? I think so many people who want to comment about Southern Kaduna problem end up even complicating the issues and give the issue a way that you can't even find solution. If it were actually a hardest farmers crisis, was it in the farm? The people, then it will have happened, it will be a fight between the farmers and the herders, probably in the farm. But these people are sleeping in their homes and some criminals or terrorists come and kill them, and you are calling it farmers, herders. These people are sleeping in their home, women and children, and some people came, gunned them down and marched at them, and you are calling me communal violence? This is sad. Well, this is the way we receive this every time. Everybody wants to comment about our crisis, but they end up commenting as if they are even not really concerned about the reality of this. We are not blaming anybody. We are simply saying that we have a government in place, and the responsibility of government is to protect lives and properties. On all the roads leading to different communities and different towns in Southern Kaduna, you find military men, policemen checking. Then you ask yourself, these people who came and slaughtered the people, how did they drop to that community? How did they also escape out of that community? And nobody saw them. So these police and soldiers that are everywhere are just out to stop commuters or stop people with vehicles and salute those who are having tinted glass vehicles and get some gratification. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, Reverend Hayab, there are some who would say that this issue is more complicated than many people are willing to admit. And I'd like to take you back to 2020. For instance, there are some who would say these attacks are not one-sided. And there might be facts to back this up. On September 3rd of September that year, Christian and Muslim leaders signed up for an interfaith peace initiative inaugurated by the incumbent governor. And a few Christian clerics had this to say. The Bishop of Kaduna Diocese of Anglican Church was quoted to have said that, I'm quoting him now, we tend to take sides. It's like this war has been focused on one group. We must correct this narrative. Another cleric, Matthew Undagoso, Archbishop of Kaduna Catholic Diocese, also said everyone puts the blame on just the other side. That if everyone put the blame on just the other side, nothing will change. Do you agree with this statement?
Well, you didn't say who is the name of the Bishop of the Anglican, because there are people who claim to be speaking for the church in Kaduna, and sadly they don't.
The name on this record, Reverend, is Timothy Yahya.
Okay. And I don't think that there was a sign of an agreement in Kaduna. Kaduna is not Southern Kaduna. If you are trying to handle a crisis, have you really engaged the people who are victims, the people who are in the place where the crisis is going on? Or you come to a city and meet some people who don't really have a say or have a presence in that place and decide. I'm the county chairman of Kaduna State. Okay, by virtue of my office, I could be dealing with all the churches across the state, but the bishops you've just signed, I'm thinking you may be using a conversation that is different, are all operating in Kaduna, not in Southern Kaduna, because Bishop Timothy Yahya is the bishop of the Anglican Diocese of Kaduna, but it does not cover that area because we have even 3 other Anglican bishops in that area. I wanted to hear you quoting them.
Are you saying that you did not participate in that particular?
I did not even know about it. I'm just hearing it from you.
All right, just hold on a minute.
You see, that's part of the problem that we are trying to just refusing to discuss about it. When those in authority deliberately sideline stakeholders in South Africa, I know very well that when all these killings were going on, what we hear from many of the media is your our leaders accusing Sukapo elders, accusing Christian leaders, accusing people. So they may have just gone to pick some friends that they think they want to talk with. That's why those who really speak for the people, those who the people know as their leaders, don't even know what you're talking about.
All right, Reverend Tony has called in from Jos. Let's hear him out. Good morning, Tony.
Hello, good morning, my brother. How are you doing?
Terrific.
Good morning to the Reverend.
Thank you.
Hello.
We can
Hello.
hear you. We can hear you,
Okay.
Tony. Please go ahead.
You see, Kaduna crisis has become perennial. It has been for a very long time. And I want to encourage the Reverend as a stakeholder to get these things nipped on the bud, because killing of innocent people does nobody any good. You see, there is no way those that came to kill those innocent ones could go to the battlefield and fight with those ones they are fighting with. It is not possible. So this issue of trying to drag military and the police and the rest of them there are people's sons, husbands, and daughters or whatever. Those security men, they are no spirit. So the stakeholders must solve these things. So it's been a long time this issue has been on. So apportioning blame to this or to this person or to this other person, it will not solve their problem. Otherwise, it will continue. So I want to encourage the Reverend with you there to get the stakeholders, plead with them, let's live together. Because nobody will live forever here. All of us will one day exit. This innocent killing of people is uncalled for in Kaduna. It's been for too long. I remember during the Ramani Lekwot era and the rest of them. So it's not something that started today. Giving blames to everybody is not the issue. The military are own, they have blood in them. So you don't put everything on their doorstep. That they have checkpoints here and there does not mean that they are living within the people. The people should give them information when they see such things. But when you kill today, the other one will come back tomorrow and kill, and you are blaming the military. What does that mean? Please, stakeholders should come, rise, and stop this unnecessary waste of blood.
Thank you, Tony,
Thank you.
for your contribution. Reverend Hayab, if you were not at that meeting in 2020 at the government house where the Peace Commission met with the stakeholders, what kind of engagement have you had with the Kaduna state government? And when last did that happen?
You know my role, I have been doing a lot of work in southern Kaduna, speaking to both Muslims and Christians community, talking to their various leaders, appealing to them for peace, appealing to them for dialogue. I work for an organization where we preach that human beings are members of one family under God. We use that slogan to encourage them to understand, to encourage them to discuss with one another. And to some extent, we've been yielding fruit. But you see, there is a limit to our role in talking to people and to the role of enforcement. Talking to people to come and dialogue, and you end up having the criminals who are causing the mayhem, who are killing, you don't even find them to come and dialogue with them. So every group that is discussing dialogue must understand that there is a limit to what you can do. You do with people who are available, not people who are faceless. That's why the killers are faceless. And faceless killers can be better dealt by government and security agency. So the last speaker was thinking as if it is just no one is doing it. If I tell you the effort stakeholders have been putting to make sure that this violence stops, if I tell you the sacrifice stakeholders have been putting to make sure that this violence ends, you will sympathize with the stakeholders. What the stakeholders have always been asking is, can we really come to this dialogue table sincerely? Can we really come to this dialogue table as equal partners? Can we really come to this dialogue table with an open mind to listen to each other? Not just using the word dialogue, when in reality it is not dialogue. Not just bringing some people who do not even know about it to discuss. Well, the real victims have never been discussed with. I was there in Malagon when we buried the previous 38 people. And this time around again, we are going to bury another one tomorrow. So these things have continuously happening. But the kind of engagement we see has never been constructive enough and open and sincere enough that will bring people into conversation. If you will make reference to the previous incidents or the previous experience of Zamani Lekot, Oh my God. This is one of the saddest stories we don't even want to remember, because when there is a crisis between two people, instead of coming to help the two people to understand, the authority that's supposed to help took side and almost even destroy another. So you only delay the crisis for another day because you've really not solved the problem.
All right. So I'm going to bounce some ideas with you. There's what the presidency says the problem is. There's the position of the state government. And I want to see if these positions align with your school of thought and particularly what you see happen on the ground. But let's hear Pius out. He's called in from Sapele in Delta State. Good morning, Pius.
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
I want to contribute. Tony, ask Tony why Tony cannot use the same stakeholder solution to solve just problem.
Say that again. I didn't quite get you.
Why Tony cannot use stakeholder solution to solve just problem? The killing is just.
All right, we're not necessarily talking about just this morning. Our attention is on
He
Southern
said
Kaduna.
killing is just. He said killing is Plateau State. Also, in that question, he's advised the reference. Can he advise himself just Plateau State? All the states that they are used to kill.
That's all right. Thank you for your contribution, and I'm sure that that is quite noted. In 2020, I'm going back to that again because quite a lot happened that year. The presidency, Reverend Hayab, was quoted to have described what is responsible for the Southern Kaduna crisis. And it says it's an evil combination of politically motivated banditry, revenge killings, and mutual violence by criminal gangs acting on ethnic and religious grounds. Do these, in your opinion, reflect the reasons for this crisis?
Well, let me commend the federal government for coining their definition in such a way that you cannot separate A from B and C. So they are interconnected somehow. They've talked about criminals, they've talked about politics, they've talked about religion, they've talked about virtually everything. And that's true. But you see, sometimes even in coining the answers, we coin it with also bias and sentiment attached to it. Because having been around for quite a long time and having been engaging local communities in dialogue, I'll give an example with the Kanenkong chiefdom when there was a Christmas Eve attack. What was the reprisal there? There was really no reprisal. It's just some criminals who were hiding under whatever guise that came and attacked the community. And when you have such attack, what is expected is that is when you expect government to act, because government have the power for enforcement. We only engage the people or provide a platform for the people to talk. So the criminal-minded person, even if he comes to the dialogue, will look innocent and he wouldn't say anything, but he will go behind. That's why we have intelligence gathering. Who is doing what is going on? Some people could look innocent, but they are really behind the crime. So intelligence gathering helps you to know them. Even if they sit in the dialogue table, they only sit to gather information, but they still go out to perpetrate their evil. So there are so many things really happening, quite all right, as the government try to portray. But the real truth is that the political will to enforce and stop evil is what is lacking, not the dialogue, not the people talking to each other.
Well, we'll work on that line. Just a minute, Reverend Hayab. We need to fix the quality of your line. But let's hear Abdullahi, who's called in from Kafancha. Good morning, Abdullahi.
Good morning, Nifemi, and good morning to the Reverend too.
Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Can I go ahead?
Please do. Go ahead.
Okay, actually, the little contribution that I want to make here is that, just like you have rightly mentioned, the issue of insecurity in Southern Kaduna State is very peculiar, and then very, very sad that it is yet to nip the bud on the head. But then the issue here is that Number one factor is religious intolerance. I want to tell you here categorically that the Christians, sorry to mention, are vehemently and repeatedly disagreeing with anybody who is not part of them. Sorry to mention this. I want to believe that the Reverend here is listening, and he will not that it is the fact, because I am a bona fide indigene, born, brought up, and then lived almost 50 years, going nowhere, living in southern Kaduna State. Right from the genetics of this crisis up to date, I can tell you a whole lot about it. So, number one is religious intolerance. I happen to be a member of one of the various committees that has been set up, at least just to clear this crisis, at least to bear it, to bring it to the barest minimum. But then, unanimously, there was a time that we sat down and then we agreed upon, based on each tribe as well as Christianism, Muslim, that is talking about tribe and religion, that the issue of crisis that has to do with farmers and herders, whenever it arises, people should not take the law into their hands. If herder goes to somebody's farm and then do some damages, that farmer or even farmers should please report to the nearest authority. At least the crisis will become at least to the barest minimum, to the sense that it can be controllable within the shortest possible time. But then, very sad to say that in every society, in every community, in every religion, there are black sheep. This is what brought to the issue of at least the Christians taking at least the security, or let me say, the law into their hands. Whenever things happen, no matter how little it is, they will just make some jungle justice over it. And then repeatedly, the security will tell other people to be patient enough. And then their time goes on, whereby at least this crisis, this insecurity escalated.
All right, Abdullahi,
Yes,
I think you made your point. That's how much time we have to go on a short break now. Reverend Hayab, when we return, I'll take your reaction to that position, particularly why people do not trust in enforcement agencies to report crime and rather take laws into their hand. I also like us to explore the topic of indigene settler dichotomy and the fact that the Kaduna state government is insisting on citizenship and not indigenship. How you think that issue can also be resolved. The phone lines are still open. Remember to use the hashtag TVC, This Morning TVC on Twitter if you'd like to use the social media. Any moment from now, we'll join the ceremony to mark the completion of the Blue Line, the light rail project of the Lagos State Government at the National Theatre. Our show continues on every other platform. Please stay tuned.